Prime Video's newest holiday entry, Oh What Fun, features a stacked cast and a bunch of chaos, but should it be on your binge list? Claire is the glue that holds her disorganized but lovable family together every holiday season. From perfectly frosted cookies to meticulously wrapped gifts, no one decks the halls quite like Claire. But this year, after planning a special outing for her family, they accidentally left her at home. Fed up and feeling underappreciated, she sets off on an impromptu adventure of her own. The cast includes Michelle Pfeiffer, Dennis Leary, Felicity Jones, Chloe Grace Moretz, Jason Schwartzman, Dominic Sessa, Joan Chen, Eva Longoria, Havana Rose Liu, and Devery Jacobs. That's a ton of people. But with a powerhouse list of players, the comedy and the acting should be spectacular. And while the performances are fine, the story creates a narrative that made me root against the main character of Michelle Pfeiffer. Claire creates so much of her own drama and disappointment, only to then become mad and disappointed in her family for not living up to her expectations for the holiday. Now, the point of the story is to highlight how it's the norm for the women of the household, especially the mom, to take on the brunt of holiday responsibilities. Whether that's cooking and cleaning or shopping and wrapping gifts. I mean, moms are typically the unsung heroes who do it all and get very little recognition. And I can totally get behind a story like that, to showcase in a smart and clever way all that gets accomplished through what most just discount as holiday magic. And had we been presented with that story, the movie would most likely be way more engaging and attractive as a watch. Unfortunately, the story paints Claire as a whiny, self-absorbed, demanding mother figure who, instead of asking for any sort of help, makes herself a martyr and then creates the situations that continually make her upset or disappointed. She's also incredibly unscrupulous and dishonest. And the story points out this massive character flaw, but instead of confronting and correcting it, the plot makes the character continue to decide on sketchy and then deceitful actions. Now, part of the whole premise of the story is that Claire's favorite talk show host is having a contest to highlight moms during the holidays. And to be considered, the mom must be nominated by one of her kids. So after her kids neglect to submit a nomination, despite numerous hints and asks from Claire, she reaches a breaking point and leaves for a solo road trip. The breaking point, though, is once again brought about by her own choices. She gets left home in a moment of chaos as the family all leaves to attend some sort of skanky holiday show. Now, the problem is, Claire decides that in the midst of her rushing everybody out the door, it's also the time to visit with a neighbor. So, with all of the family leaving in multiple vehicles, everybody thinks Claire is in the other car. She's then pouty and storms off, which is when we all realize that she had access to another car. And instead of just recognizing her own choices that led to her being left, she simply just drives herself to the holiday show in another state. Now, this became a tiresome cycle, and instead of making Claire endearing, I just wanted her to go away. The comedy that's supposed to exist in this story, it's mainly unfunny and instead biting and sad. And it's not only from the perspective of Claire, but the rest of the family is also a miserable sack of poo who should all just stay at their respective homes so that no one is mean to another. Now, I'm not sure I chuckled once during this movie. Each character is written so that they are counterintuitive to the emotion that we should be feeling for the family. Jason Schwartzman is an awkward son-in-law who's portrayed as completely useless and ineffective as a parent or even a helpmate. There's this glimmer that he is just a nice and easygoing guy who gets trampled on by his in-laws, but we barely get to see that. Chloe Grace Moretz is supposed to be the golden child who the entire family dotes on. But despite that attention, she's vapid and angry, who's just a person who's written to be an entitled little bee. Felicity Jones, while not crafted as a persona who's lacking or distasteful, is relegated to being shown as a villain because she wants to have some of her own traditions with her husband and kids, rather than just doing the exact same set of habits every single Christmas. Now, Claire views her eldest daughter as disloyal and selfish, instead of seeing how she herself is the selfish one by mandating the repeated holiday rituals. Then Dennis Leary is written as an inept mess of a husband, also a dad, and then a grandfather too. He's thwarted by the construction of this plastic dollhouse, and also isn't shown to do anything of value around the house. And sure, we get to see how Claire is taking out all of the trash, wrapping all the presents, and then doing all of the shopping and the cooking. But we also never see her ask for assistance from anybody. Now, in a real-world scenario, Leary's character should have been proactive in doing some of the chores as well, and then offering to help. but the story needs Claire to be overworked and underappreciated so that then it can prop her up as the deserving, self-sacrificing mom. Finally, we got Dominic Sessa. He's just a sad sack of a character. He's mopey, immature, generally unpleasant. He's not sympathetic or endearing, instead just evoking annoyance through his childish behaviors. For a movie that's only an hour 47, this felt closer to 3 hours. The pacing is repetitive and slow, and because of how unlikable the characters are, it makes the time go by even slower, because we just don't get a reprieve from any of them. The progressions are drawn out, presumably in this attempt to create humor, but instead it just adds time and then compounds the frustration of unhappy characters who don't really learn any lessons, save for a 1-minute montage at the very end. That doesn't make up for all that came before. So despite the massive pool of talent, Oh What Fun's story frames the characters as anything but endearing or sympathetic, creating a narrative that is sad, angry, and an unsatisfying waste of time. This was a disappointing holiday entry, illustrating that simply having an excellent cast is not enough to create some holiday magic. There's no sex or nudity, there is a lot of profanity, no violence. I give Oh What Fun 1.5 out of 5 couches. Just wipe this one off your watch list unless you want to be depressed and angry. Okay, what are some other films that feature a stellar cast but ended up being poo? I can't wait to just see your responses in the comments below. If you enjoyed this review, please give it a like. Also, don't forget to share and subscribe. I'm Chris. This is Movies and Munchies. Thanks for couching with me.